Hi, it's me, KJ, the filmmaker slash artist, and welcome to this live stream. No, the shopping live stream, that is. So, pretty much today on the shopping live stream, well, last time I did the t shirts, and now I'm going to do the physical artwork or something like that. Yeah, so please excuse because my grammar's kind of a little messy, or it's kind of like not that good because I have autism, which is one, and for some reason only, I'm just one filmmaker slash artist is trying to sell away the artwork away. And the artwork, and all these physical artwork, which includes the t-shirts, are clothing vending on eBay, and you can just start the bid right about now because I only have like one of each, but I don't have multiple amount of each, but I only have like one each artwork for all that matter. So right about now, so pretty much about this whole entire artwork, it's gonna like involve anime style character I created, and it's gonna like or manga character style either way. And it's cool. And some of the artworks you're gonna see is either done by mixed media or dry media. Either way, without clean vanity depends, if anything. So pretty much right about now, I'm just gonna show you the still life image. So pretty much this here is clean vanity, the still life image of buttons. So pretty much this is clearly like part of a button series I eventually created for all that matter. So pretty much it was completed on July the 19th, 2018 or something like that, and the size is 11 by 14. So pretty much the cost of it is $3 on the bid, and you can just buy now for $90 or something like that either way. And if anything, I'm sure it might be a worthwhile artwork or something like that. If anything, and I probably might have to move on to the next one though, so let's move on. Okay, so this here is Chloe Bunny, the image of girl with the, hold on a second, girl with a huge button dress or something like that. Well, that's what it's called. So pretty much this artwork is Chloe Bunny good for, is Chloe Bunny good for those who might be. So this is Chloe Bunny, another button series for all that matter, and it probably might be fluorescent or black light either way. I better check on that on eBay.com or something since I took picture of two images, one being bright and the other one being fluorescent or black light or something like that. Because each of these artwork might be fluorescent or black light if you look at the eBay account to see how many images I officially took. And either way, so this here is invented a girl with a huge button dress or something like that. Even though I promised I meant teen with a huge button dress or something like that, since this girl's obviously invented a teenager or something like that, and I did create it in my own form of how I create the anime style of myself for all that matter, because I'm like into anime, and if you know what I mean, and I'm sorry the comments are off, clearly for safety reasons or something like that. So I'm never gonna turn it back on or anything else. So this here is invented an image of the girl with a huge button dress, and the image was complete on June the 7th, 2018. The size is 11 by 14, and the bid is $3, and you can buy now for $9 on eBay. And even if you're looking for eBay, you can look it up on the description box, or you can just find it in my bio link somewhere, so that you can just search for the eBay account if anything. And I probably had to move on to the next one then. Oh yeah, would you hold on a second? I might have to pause this camera right about now. I might have to mute it and then I might have to turn the camera off. Sorry it took so while. Well, for some reason, only because I was like trying to search for this image or something like that. I know how it is or something like that because for some stars, I was like searching for this image known as Button Eye Doll or something like that. So pretty much you're gonna see with Button Eye Doll, you kind of see that this doll had like this button-like eyes if you look extremely to it or something like that, and everything else is clean vanity still alive with buttons and it's always like a still life image or something like that. So even though it's called Button with Eye Dolls with Button Eye Doll or something like that, even though the doll's eyes are buttons for eyes or something like that. Well, even if you were a Coraline fan, maybe this image might be for you and for for you if anything. Even though I was like creating all kinds of button series or something like that, and these buttons are just made out of bottle tops or something like that that was recycled. So I turned them into a piece of artwork, and I'm sure it might be good for anyone who might be a fan of dolls like I am, like I usually am, or something like that. And in the image is also Vanity fluorescent under black light. If anything, I don't, but I'm not gonna turn the black light on or anything else. So I'm just gonna put it on so it's obviously on eBay right about now. So the image is clearly on eBay right now. So even if you're thinking about buying these image with that contains black that contains being fluorescent under black light, since I just add some neon Sharpie marker on to make it look like it's fluorescent under black light. I'm sure this image might be for you, but you might have to purchase yourself a black light either at a Lowe's or Home Depot either way, and it would clean if I need work, if anything. So pretty much the image was complete on June the 25th, 2018, and the size is 11 by 14, and the cost is $3 for the bid and $90 for a buy or something like that, if anything, or you can just hire the price of any of the doll that you obviously want, if anything. So I'm going to move on to the next image. Okay, so this image is called Wearing a Button Coat or something like that. So this image is obviously about this girl or adult female, either way, whether it's a teenager or adult female. That clearly depends on how tall this character really is. So this is clearly this one character wearing like this button wearing this button coat or something like that on a rainy day. But you kind of see that the brain is clearly fluorescent on the black light if you look under it. If you had a person invented to look under it, though. And the image was clearly invented, completed on, let's see, reading the button code. It was completed on July the 4th, 2028, and the size is 11 by 14. And you can bid it for $3, but you can press the buy now button for $90 if that helps, if anything. And I'm probably gonna move on to the next image of some sort, either way. So now this here is inventing the next image, and this one's called Baby with the Button or something like that. Even though it's about babies with buttons, so everything else is themed button, which includes the baby's brattle, and of course the baby's car on wheels, and of course the huge button on her shirt, and then there's also a button on her bow tie thing, that is. So pretty much the baby with the button sort of seems like a cute image. The image is also fluorescent under black light, if anything, and you can just hang on the wall pretty much in your baby girl's bedroom or something like that. It's probably good for those who owns baby girl or something like that, or as a baby lover or anywhere else in between or something like that. And if anything, I promise to add some glitter to it to make it look sparkly and all that stuff. So you kind of see that this image is clearly invented for people who's kind of a baby kind of person. So pretty much the baby with the buttons is clearly complete on July the 14th, 2018. The size is 11 by 14, and the bidding cost is $3 on eBay, and of course $90 to press the buy if you want to buy it now. If anything. So the bid kind of like so pretty much it's going to be there for like 7 to 8 days or something like that, either way. Sometimes even longer or something like that, but sometimes shorter, even though the bidding might even end. So there you have it, baby with a button or something like that. If anything, it'll probably be good for good to hang it on the wall if you're into babies or had a baby girl or anything else. It'd probably be really good for you to hang it on the wall. Okay, so this here is most of my artwork are usually mixed media, but this one's dry media or something like that. So this was clearly invented done by graphite pencils and sometimes even charcoal pencil for the background. So this image is called Vampire. Yep, so this image is clearly invented for those who's clearly a vampire kind of person or something like that, or a manga or anime kind of person, since I made this character in an anime manga kind of style or something like that, but it's kind of villainous of some sort. Either way. Either way, so even though for this image being called Vampire, even though that's all I just call it, I just straight up call it Vampire. for all that matters. So pretty much for this vampire image, it was obviously complete on August 24th, 2020, and the size is 9 by 12, and the bidding is $2, with a buy now button being 45, since these images are on eBay. Even though I don't have eBay Live, not as yet, or maybe I'm probably must have gotten rejected or somewhat, even though it would have been so nice if I had it on eBay Live so that people would just bid on this. It would have made sense, if anything, and I'm sure some of y'all might be a vampire kind of person, or is into anime or manga, or maybe this artwork is clean funded for you, and is also framed for all that matter. Even though I'm just trying to sell it or something like that, or it might be good for Halloween, if anything, and I probably have to move on to the next image. Okay, so pretty much this image is kind of a steampunk image, and this one is called Inventing the Resistant. So pretty much the Resistant was clearly based on that digital artwork I officially made, but it's like steampunk-wise, even though I decided to make this image make this image into another graphite pencil of some sort, which kind of makes it look skinny or something like that. Even though for this image on the hand, even if you were into steampunk or something like that, maybe this image is clearly founded for you. If anything, even though it's called Resistant in the store, took place in some kind of a factory or something like that. If anything, even even though I heard that steampunk is clearly inventing a thing, but it's obviously a technique in filmmaking. Even though steampunk only works in sci-fi films or fantasy films or something either way, and I decided to give steampunk style a try style or technique a try for all that matter. It might eventually look good, even if you were an anime manga kind of person. Maybe this artwork is for you, and is obviously into steampunk, or maybe you probably be a steampunk person, if anything. So pretty much for this image on the hand, the image was obviously complete on September the 2nd, 2020, and the size is 18 by 12, and the bid is clearly like $3 a bid, and to buy now, you can just buy now for $75 just to end the bidding or something like that either way. And if anything, maybe this image is clearly intended for you. It's clearly intended for you, if anything. So now let's move on to the next image then, shall we then? This one's a really small image, and this one's clearly an image of two button flowers, even though the flowers had like these buttons on, for all that matter, to make it look like it's a button or something like that, around with these bottle caps that kind of resembled buttons, for all that matter. So pretty much for these button flowers, it's probably good for those who might be a flower kind of person, and it's obviously, and the button flowers is clean penny complete on June the 8th, 2018. And the size is 8 by 10, and you can start the bid at $3 with the buy now button for $80 on eBay. And if anything, you can just check out my eBay account, my eBay account on the description, and of course on the bio, if anything. And I'm sure if anything, it might be good for those who might be a fan of flowers, especially with buttons or something like that. And that clothing vending depends. Well, this here is clearly been an image of a little girl or something like that, even though it's been called little girl because it's clearly some kind of experimentation I wish something it did. Clearly with charcoal pencils and of course a brown a brown Chinese marker, or if anything, yeah, it was clearly the background part is clearly the background part is clearly invented done by a Chinese mark by a brown Chinese marker of some sort, or maybe a brown colored pencil or something, if anything. And you kind of see that this is clearly very crosshatch. That this image is clearly very crosshatch for all that matter. So pretty much for this little girl image or something like that, it was actually drawn on newsprint paper or something like that, which I was with a lighter paper or something like that. And for some reason only, even though it was made through a charcoal pencils, it was made through, draw through a charcoal pencils, it probably might be pretty much a good artwork I officially invented, created, even though I tried to experiment with the image of a little girl. So pretty much a little girl in the hand. It was completed on September 17th, 2020. And the size is 9 by 12. And so pretty much it costs $2 for the bid. And the buy now is $45, if anything. And I'm sure you probably might be into that image of a little girl, especially when I draw with charcoal pencil. So I'm just going to have to move on to the next image then. So this here is the image of the button cupcake. So pretty much the button cupcake is clearly another small image, just like that 2-button flower or something like that I officially made, even though they're like 8 by 10 inch for all it matter, and it's very small. So pretty much it might be good for those who might be a cupcake person or something like that, even though these buttons were actually just bottle caps or something like that. And if anything, it probably might be good for those who are clearly funny into cupcakes or something like that. I know it doesn't look anything else like a button or something like that, but I view them as. But for some reason, I view these bottle caps, as if they were buttons or something like that. If anything, but for some reason, only you kind of see that this button cupcake can also be fluorescent in a black light, or if anything, if you look at the images on my eBay store or something like that. So even though the image was clean vendied, complete on October 25th, 2018, and the cost is $30, and the buy is $80, if anything. And I'm sure probably this image is clean vendied good for you, and you probably might hang on the wall if you were a good cupcake, if you were invited a cupcake person, if anything. And I'm sure it probably would be good for absolutely anything else to begin with, if anything. And you can look up this shop on my eBay account either in the description nor in the bios somewhere, and you would find the shop online though. And I might move on to the next image. Yeah, you might have to hold on a second. I'm about to turn this mic and cam off because I'm still looking for that artwork somewhere. So please hold on a moment. Sorry, it took a while. So now I finally find another image. So this here is a validated image of called Together on a Crane. So this is clearly validated about a boy and a girl character flying on the crane or something like that. Even though you kind of see that they're flying on a giant golden crane or something like that, like they're flying in together, and you kind of see that this image is clearly validated fluorescent under black light. Well, usually these blue stars around that are fluorescent under black light. But for some reason only, the image was clean found completed on January the 14th, 2019, and the size is 18 by 12. So pretty much the bidding cost is like $3, and with the buy now for $75 on eBay, if anything. And you can search for it on eBay right about now, if anything. And I'm sure it might be good for those who probably be an origami person or something like that. Or maybe even an origami fan, if anything. And I might have to move on to the next image or something like that, if anything. So this is another origami image, and this one is called the Origami Princess, if I'm right. So pretty much this Origami Princess is clearly indeed a good artwork for those who's into origami or is into princess or something like that, even though it's about an origami princess. So you kind of see that everything else seems kind of origami themed, which includes her crown or tiara that kind of resembled an origami paper or something like that. And then there's also, indeed, origami cranes all over her dress or something like that, along with these stars or something like that. So pretty much of anything, the origami princess might be good for those who might be into princess or into origami either way, or would call himself an origami princess either way. That clearly kind of depends. So pretty much for the origami princess, it was completed on January the 8th, 2019, and the size is 18 by 12, like the other one that's like the origami crane I officially invented draw on that big picture or something like that. And the bidding cost is $3 and it's $3 and you can buy now for $75 to end it right about now. So the auction is on eBay right about now if you really want to buy it. But even if you want to search for it on the store, the store link is clearly like in the description or in the bio either way. Sorry. Sorry, that was a phone call, so I'm obviously not going to answer, and I obviously don't know who that was. Probably might be a scam. I don't know why you have phones here, but who knows. So right about now, so this here is inventing an image of origami. Once again, this is origami princess or something like that, and it's obviously invented available on eBay right about now. So make sure you place your bid on this, and eventually you could possibly invented buy the origami princess, if anything, even if you were a princessy kind of person, and you can actually invented buy it for at least for based on the bidding price for a $3 bid, and of course a $75 if you want to buy it now, just in the bidding, just in the auction and the bidding. As the bidding is now, if anything. Well, this here is the button butterfly. It's another small piece, unlike that button cup here I officially invented create. So this here is image is called the button butterfly. So you kind of see that pretty much for this button butterfly. So you're gonna have to see that this butterfly has buttons all over, especially buttons for eyes. If anything, kind of make you want to think of Coraline again. If anything, so pretty much for this button butterfly or something like that, it might be good for those who might be a butterfly kind of person or something like that. And if anything, maybe this button butterfly is buttonfly is good for those who might be a butterfly kind of person either way. So pretty much it was obviously the complete date was July the 31st, 2018, and the size is 18 by 10. It's 8 by 10, and you can start the bidding cost at $3 with the buy now for $80 either way. And if anything, even if you were a butterfly person, maybe this might be for you, and you can find it on the eBay shop in the description or in the bio links either way. And I'm sure it might be good for anyone who might be a button person or a butterfly person, if anything. This here is an image called Little Princess or something like that, even though this is another experimentation I officially did. Well, sure, it seems like an experimentation, but it's obviously not. But I just draw like an image of the little princess or something like that, even though it's like a little girl kind of princess that I officially invented, created, even though I tried to draw like a self-portrait, but who knows, I just only had part of her, half of her body being drawn or something like that. So pretty much for the little princess on the hand, this is clearly a dry media kind of piece, and it was obviously drawn from a graphite pencil or something like that I officially invented, drew along with thin Sharpie markers for outlines, and pretty much for the lighting part, I either erased it nor I just had that white out ink or something like that. Okay, I'm sure I have some problems to erase the outline with a eraser pencil or something like that I have at the art studio or something like that I was drawing. I need to get some water. So the image of Little Princess was obviously invented complete on September the 14th, 2012. The size is 9 by 12, and the cost for the bid is $2, along with a 45 buy or something like that. And you can find on eBay. But then again, the eBay shop is in the description and, of course, in the bio. If you really want to purchase the item and hang on your wall, if you are a princessy kind of person, either way. But that claim value depends on this little princess image that you're obviously into. And now I might have to move on to the next image. This here is a really big image I officially invented created, so it's bigger than the other one, and the size of it is 16 by 20 for all it matters. So this is clean event, the image called The Button Princess or something like that, and it was completed on July the 10th, 2018 or something like that, and you kind of see everything else the same button-wise, especially the flowers, and of course the button dress that the princess was obviously invented wearing, and you kind of see that this princess have like this buttons for eyes, I guess. Okay, I'm guessing these are just buttons for eyes, or buttons for pupil eyes, or something like that, if anything. Did I just be a bunch of pupil eyes? I had to look forward into that, if anything. But for some reason, all you kind of see that this princess is clearly like the Button Princess or Princess Button, and she's obviously like the Princess of Buttons or something like that. But even if you were into princess or into buttons or something like that, maybe this image is clearly invented for you, and it's clearly like all part of that button series or something like that I officially invented create for the artwork. And if anything, maybe this image is clearly invented for you, even if you were a princessy kind of person, or you're into buttons or something like that, or into one of these button themed series or something like that. Please note that the cost of the bid is $3, along with a $100 buy, if anything, if you really want to buy this image. And I'm sure this image is clearly invented for you, if anything, if you were inventing a button person or a princessy person, either way. And I might have to move on to the next image then. Well, this is Clean Vanity. So this here is Clean Vanity, an image of the girl with the paper crane or something like that. Even though this seems kind of peaceful or or anything, even if you were a person who's into origami or something like that, even though the frame size is actually 11 by 14, but the real size is actually, I think it's 11 by 5.5 or something like that. So I just split that 11 by 14. So I'm guessing I must have split that 11 by 14 paper into half or something like that, if anything. Even though I was trying to create like a smaller image of some sort that is split in half. Either way, and I'm not sure what I did the other half. Maybe I draw it on the other paper. Either way, that cleaning funny depends. So pretty much you have like this girl with a paper crane or something like that, and it's probably good for those who are an origami kind of person because you gotta see the crane is origami. Even the flowers itself is clearly origami theme as well as the crane. And I'm sure this image is clean funny for you or anybody else who might be an origami person. And I'm sure it probably might be good for those who might be a fan of origami, if anything. And I'm sure probably the girl with the paper crane might seem kind of peaceful. It was so one thing to know, it was always completed on December the 31st of 2028, and the size is 11. The frame size is actually 11 by 14, but the other size is just 14 by a half, or half the 11 I cut up into. And the bidding starts at $2 with the $50 a buy or something like that if you're ever thinking about purchasing it. So if anything, it's obviously the link to eBay is clear on in the description or in the bio. And I might have to move on to the next image then. This here is clean finding an image called Silver Blue Rose. So this is clean finding an image of a rose with that silver outline I use. So I use like that metallic Sharpie marker to create the silver line around the rose or something like that. And also around the rose is probably that silver glitter stuff I officially made just to make it seem like art or something like that. And if anything, this still, even if you're a rose person, or anything else in between. Maybe this art is clean vended for you. So pretty much about that silver rose, blue rose or something like that. It was completed on November the 18th, 2021. Or was it May? I better check the date on the bottom. Yeah, it was a May or something like that. I must have mispronounced it to be in November, so I already got that list. So one thing to note, I obviously got this list on just in case I lose it or something like that. So probably was obviously made on May the 18th, 2021, and the size is 10 by 10, and the cost is like $3 with the buy now of $80 if anything, if you really want to purchase it though. But even if you're a rose person, this image is clearly funded for you. Once again, the eBay shop is you can find on the eBay shop in the description nor in the bio, either way. So I'm moving on to the next one. This one's called Silver Heart Rose on the golden background or something like that. But for some reason only, you kind of see everything else looks kind of golden with silver rose or something like that because I had like that silver Sharpie marker around the outline, and for some reason only, the gold is clean funny painted with a golden acrylic paint or maybe with that silkscreen paint or something like that. So I'm guessing this is clean funny silkscreen like I did with the t-shirts or something like that because I'm selling like t-shirts with that rose heart or something like that, whether they're silver or golden or something like that, or bronze color, either way. That clean funny depends on that. So even though what I did do is that I officially created a silver heart rose on a golden background along with these metallic Sharpie markers that I officially invented use. So the image was completed on October the 13th, 2025. This show does look like I promise of complete that artwork on a bad luck day, even though I should have just created on complete on October the 14th. If anything, if anything, even though I usually don't paint pictures on the 13th day or the 6th day or the 26th day or the 16th day or something like that, all because I feel like they're just kind of bad luck days or bad luck numbers. So I kind of get so OCD about it anyway. But the size of it is like 11 by 14 or 14 by 11 either way. And the bidding costs like $3 or $90 a buy if you're thinking about person in this. And you probably might view that image as a bad luck image because I complete on October the 13th. So I have legitimately completed this image on the 13th day. And I'm sure some of y'all might view it as a bad luck image, which it's probably not. That's clean up to you, if anything. But hopefully this image doesn't go cursed or anything else, if anything. Or cause any bad luck. So I guess it's probably worth buying the image then, and I probably had to move on to the next image then. So this here is clearly inventing a donut image of some sort. So pretty much the image was complete. So pretty much what I do with this donut image is that the donut image is clearly invented. It's clearly invented all in acrylic with a Sharpie marker, and this sprinkling part was clearly colored in with these neon Sharpie markers I officially use. And yes, they are fluorescent under black light, to keep that a note. And for some reason, only the date was always complete on May the 17th, 2021, and the size is 12 by 12. So the cost of the bid, so the bidding cost is $3, and you can just press buy now for $85 to end it. So you can find this image on eBay if you want to ever think about purchasing it, and the bidding is obviously now. Even though the bid is $3 if you want to bid this. And if anything, you can just find it on my, you can find eBay on in the description nor in the bio section or something like that either way. And I'm sure this image might be good for those who might be a donut kind of person, if anything. This here is clearly inventing an ice cream image. So pretty much for this ice cream image, it's clearly the same way I did with the donut image, even though I get away with adding these sprinkles because I kind of like recycle all these paper or something like that. That's clearly how I am. I probably might recycle papers anyway if I really want to create the next image or so. So pretty much for this image on hand, if you were an ice cream person, this image is clearly invented for you, if anything. So pretty much the image was always invented completed on May the 17th, 2021, and the size is, no, not, I got it wrong. So the image was clearly complete on November the 25th, 2025, and the size is 12 by 12, and the cost is $3 along with the buy now 85 one, and you can find you can find this image on eBay.com. You can find it on my eBay shop, which you can find in the description, nor in the bio either way, if anything. And I'm sure it might be good for those who might be an ice cream kind of person, and I might have to move on to the next image then. This here is clearly been an image called Two-Sided House. This was clearly done by a long time ago, so it was obviously made in 2013 or something like that. So pretty much for this image of Two-Sided House, you gotta see that the houses are clearly like origami style or something like that. Based on how I would draw, what I would do is that I would just fold the papers, look at the papers, and then I would just draw the paper, draw these origami paper, which helps or something like that, and I would just add in like windows and doors and of course chimneys on top with what I call a paper or something like that to make it stand out or so. Even though this is clearly like a mixed media piece I think Vanity did, it is obviously good for those who might be into origami or is into two-sided house either way. And I'm sure if anything, maybe this image is clearly overall good for all that matter, and it might be good for those who might be an origami fan or anything else. Even though this house is clearly origami style either way. So pretty much for this house on the hand, it was obviously completed on January the 9th, 2013. The size is 16 by 12, and the cost is $3 for a bid, along with a $100 buy now kind of button, if anything. And you can just find this image on eBay in the description, nor in the bio, if anything. And I'm sure it might be good for those who might be a house person, if anything. And I might have to move on to the next image then. Well, this here is clearly invented called Girl in a Fancy Dress or something like that. I'm sorry it's in frames because even if you look at the original image, it's not in frames, but the frames all put together because we had to clean things out and the rest. I probably might have to explain this in that KJH Family Fun thing. Either way. And it might be sad. So pretty much for Girl in the Fancy Dress or something like that, you kind of see that this is clearly depictions of a girl in a fancy dress. All because for some starters, I was into kawaii style fashion, and what I would do is that I would just draw like characters in kawaii style clothing or something. It's usually just a bunch of little girls in kawaii style clothing or something. And I probably might work on drawing a bunch of boys in kawaii style clothing next. Either way, so it's just gonna be a bunch of rich boys in kawaii style clothing. So you kind of see that I drew like characters in this kawaii style clothing, even though it's a depiction of a girl in a fancy dress with her fancy umbrella and all that stuff, and it's obviously in the hallway, if anything, and with her curly hairstyle, curly wild hairstyle, if anything. So pretty much, even if you were a kawaii kind of person and you're obviously into this image or something like that, maybe it could possibly be invented for you. And if anything, the image was clearly complete on July the 10th, 2021, and the size is 16 by 20. So the cost of the bid is $3 along with a $100 buy now kind of price, and you can find on eBay in the description, nor in the bio, if anything. And I'm sure probably this image is clearly very good for you, if anything. Well, this here is clearly about an image of a princess doing a curtsy or something like that. I'm sorry I put like a lot of glitter and all that stuff. Sometimes artists do make mistakes like that. It always happens that often. So this here is about an image of a princessy character just doing a curtsy or something like that. Even if you're in this princessy stuff, I might explain completely the size and the cost of the image. So pretty much the princess doing a curtsy is was completed on May the 4th, 2018, and the size is 19 by 12. So the cost for the bid is $3, along with the 85 by now, if anything. Even if you might be a princessy kind of person, but if anything, you might search for that image on eBay in the description or in the bottom section once again. And if anything, this image might be very good for those who might be a princessy kind of person. And I had to move on to the last but not least kind of image, which I'm obviously moving forward to it. So this here is Cluey inventing an image called Sad Snow Day. So pretty much Sad Snow Day is Cluey inventing this one character, this girl character who's obviously crying on a sad snow day, and you probably might figure out why she's crying, even though the rest of the background might even explain why. So pretty much for this image or something about sad snow day or something like that, it's kind of a sad picture if you know it at first. And it's also very based on the digital artwork I officially created. So how I create this image is that I just use acrylic paint at first to paint it all over, and then I would just add in and then I would later on add in watercolor, that is, even though watercolor can be transparent, over the window part or something like that. And the rest, I end up adding these white dots. Maybe I use white acrylic, or maybe these white out markers, something like that. Either way, and I'm sure it might be good for those who might be into that picture or something like that. Even though it gives you that sad feeling, and you probably might find out why she's having a sad snow day, because the image behind her probably might explain it all, if anything. And if anything, the image was obviously invented complete on September the 15th, 2020. And the image size is 14 by 11 or 11 by 14. And the cost of the bid is $3.90. And of course, $9 for buy now, if anything. And I guess that's clearly just about it in order to present something like that. And if anything, you can just find all these shops on my eBay account right about now, because you can find the eBay shop in the description, nor in the bio links, either way. And I'm sure it might be good for those who are into physical artwork. Not only has my physical artwork, but it also includes my physical printed t-shirt that I officially created. If you're into t-shirt, it's also on eBay or something like that, along with the crocheting stuff like the blankets in the bag or something like that. Well, pretty much the crocheting stuff is not here anymore, so the crocheting stuff is probably at a different place, like grandma's house or something like that, if anything. And I probably might go back to it to sell the blanket, if anything. And also, I'm obviously crocheting a bag or something like that, and the bag is clearly in the works right about now, and I probably might have to sell it or something like that if you were a bag person. And it's obviously coming soon, if anything. So pretty much, if anything, I probably had to end this video right about now. You can subscribe for more channels if you want more, because I probably post more of these live streams, and of course, more physical artworks online if I really want to sell these artworks or something like that, because I have so many physical artworks left. And you might have to subscribe to this channel for now. Give this video a like if you like it, and you can subscribe to my other 3 channels for free, if anything. And I might have to say thanks for watching. Give the artist/filmmaker a high five. So anyhow, thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time. So anyhow, thanks for watching.